Hey guys, welcome back to Mr. Phone. My name is Paurush and this is the new Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra, Samsung's latest ultra flagship 5G smartphone for 2021, which costs just 1,06,000 rupees. Now, this phone has a lot of ultra flagship features, but the most fascinating aspect about this phone is the 108 megapixel quad camera setup. Now, after we received this phone from Samsung, we thought about another phone that comes with 108 MP quad camera setup, but it costs just 21,000 rupees, which is the Xiaomi Mi 10i. So we were curious to compare these two smartphones and see how much of a difference will it make in terms of image quality between these two phones. So here we are. Let's start with this comparison. And if you are new to this channel, then consider subscribing by hitting the red subscribe button and don't forget to press the bell icon so that you don't miss any of our updates. Without any further delay, let's begin with this video. So guys, first of all, let's quickly tell you the camera specs of both these phones. When it comes to the S21 Ultra, you get the main 108 megapixel primary lens that comes with the Samsung ISOCELL HM3 sensor that supports 9:1 pixel binning. It has f1.8 aperture. The next one is a 10 megapixel telephoto lens with 3 times optical zoom. Then you have another 10 megapixel lens with 10 times optical zoom. And finally, you have a 12 megapixel ultra wide angle lens, and there is also the laser autofocus. On the front, you have a 40 megapixel selfie camera. And when it comes to the Mi 10i, you have a 108 MP primary sensor, which is the ISOCELL HM2. It supports 9:1 pixel binning. You have f1.8 aperture. There is a 8 megapixel ultra wide angle lens with 120-degree field of view. You have a 2 megapixel macro lens and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. And for selfies, the Mi 10i comes with a 16 megapixel lens. You can shoot 8K videos on the S21 Ultra. There are 3 lenses that support 4K at 60 FPS stable footage. You can do that from this smartphone. Then you have super steady mode, you have the super slow motion mode, you get time lapse. There are a lot of features on this smartphone, and of course you get the new single take feature on this. And when it comes to the Mi 10i, you can shoot maximum 4K 30 FPS videos from the rear camera and 1080p 30 FPS from the front camera. So now let's move to the images and show you the samples. Let's start with the comparison. Starting with the daylight shots, firstly you can see that the color reproduction on the S21 Ultra is much more accurate, especially the color of the building looks very true to source. But the color of the sky is not 100% accurate on both the images. Now if we zoom towards the center, you will notice that the sharpness looks similar on both the results. But if we move towards the left corner, you will notice that the sharpness is better on the Mi 10i compared to the S21 Ultra. If we point towards the entrance gate, the sharpness and details look much better on the Mi 10i. In terms of zooming capabilities, you get 2x optical zoom on the Mi 10i, but the Galaxy S21 Ultra lets you shoot at 3x and 10x optical zoom. The Mi 10i offers 10 times digital zoom, but you get 30 times and 100 times digital zoom option on this S21 Ultra. Honestly, the 100 times zoom surely takes you a lot closer to the subject, but the final result is unimpressive to say the least. Anyways, now talking about the ultra wide angle shots, we will undoubtedly go with the S21 Ultra as the exposure and color reproduction looks a lot better. And you can also capture a little extra area compared to the Mi 10i. You also get better sharpness due to the 12 megapixel lens on the S21 Ultra compared to the 8 megapixel lens on the Mi 10i. In this next comparison, we'll be able to get a clear idea about color reproduction. Once you zoom in, you will notice that the colors look saturated on the Mi 10i. The wall also looks saturated because the camera has chosen the color of the sunlight as the dominant one. You can also clearly notice a yellow tint on the floor, which is not the case with the S21 Ultra. In this third daylight shot, you will once again notice better sharpness on the Mi 10i after 100% zoom. Now let's compare the 108 MP sample. After 100% zoom, you can see that the center sharpness looks similar on both the images. But when we move towards the corners, the S21 Ultra exhibits soft details, whereas we get slightly better corner sharpness on the Mi 10i. It's not a huge difference, but it is quite a noticeable one. However, the color reproduction is still much better on the S21 Ultra compared to the Mi 10i. After switching on to the HDR mode, we get impressive results from both the smartphones. The dark areas in both the images have been exposed very well, and the colors of the leaves look pretty too. For close-ups, in this first comparison, we get to see saturated colors on the Mi 10i, whereas the S21 Ultra has accurately captured the colors of both the flower and the leaves. Once you zoom in, you can see that the sharpness and details look good on both the phones. In the second comparison, this red flower on the S21 Ultra's image looks a tad bit saturated, whereas it looks pink on the Mi 10i. The default bokeh effect looks very natural on both the images, but once you zoom in, you will notice a few inconsistencies in terms of background separation. Mi 10i has kept this leaf in focus, and the cutout of the petals is also not very clean on the S21 Ultra. For rare portraits, in this first sample, you can see that in terms of background separation, both the images have a few inconsistencies. The cutout has not been managed well by both the phones, but yes, the color reproduction on the S21 Ultra is perfectly accurate. The top portion of the subject looks faded in real life, but you can see that the Mi 10i has saturated the colors. In the second portrait shot, we get to see mixed results. You get warm colors on the S21 Ultra, whereas a cool color tone on the Mi 10i. The facial tones look very true to source on the S21 Ultra, but after zooming in on the subject, you will notice that the facial details look slightly better and sharper on the Mi 10i. Same goes for the clothes of the subject, where you get better details and true to source colors. The cutout looks cleaner on the S21 Ultra. You can see this by focusing towards the left shoulder of the subject. In terms of macro shots, you get very good results from the telephoto lens on the S21 Ultra in terms of sharpness and details, but the colors look true to source on the Mi 10i, and for its price, we are satisfied with the macro result of the Mi 10i. For indoor situations, you get a bit contrasty result on the Mi 10i, but that's not the case with the S21 Ultra. The sharpness and details are very similar on both the images. Moving to the low light conditions, we get similar results from both the smartphones without using night mode, but after zooming in, you will notice that the sharpness is better on the Mi 10i, plus the highlight control is also better compared to the S21 Ultra. After switching on the night mode, you can see a much better result from the S21 Ultra, especially in terms of exposure, and the color accuracy is also better in this image. For indoor low light conditions, you can clearly see the difference between the cameras of both these phones with and without night mode. Talking about selfies in daylight conditions, the S21 Ultra clicks 7 megapixel selfies by default, 6.5 megapixels to be precise, and you get a dedicated 40 megapixel selfie mode. So first, if we compare the default result with the 16MP selfie from the Mi 10i, you can see that both the images look quite impressive. The facial details look nice on both the images, but the result from the Mi 10i looks slightly over-sharpened in front of the S21 Ultra. The skin tones on the S21 Ultra look 100% accurate, whereas the Mi 10i was unable to balance the exposure on my face, and the skin tones do not look true to source. After switching on the 40 megapixel mode, firstly you get a slightly wide result, and secondly the sharpness improves significantly. Facial details and facial tones look very good on this image. Surprisingly, the portrait selfie does not look impressive on the S21 Ultra. You can see that the cutout is not clean on the right side of my face, and my right shoulder looks completely blurred out. The image shot from the Mi 10i has much better background separation compared to the S21 Ultra. Apart from this, the skin tone, exposure and facial details look exactly like what we saw in the previous sample. In terms of color reproduction, the indoor selfies from the S21 Ultra look better, but you will notice that after zooming in, the sharpness is slightly better on the Mi 10i. Under low lighting conditions, the selfies without flash look better on Mi 10i due to better exposure on my face. After switching on the night mode, you get huge improvement in the S21 Ultra, both in terms of exposure and sharpness. With the screen flash, the selfies look better on the S21 Ultra. So guys, now we are shooting at 1080p 60 fps on the Mi 10i. Let me know in the comments what are your thoughts about the footage quality, the stabilization. I don't think the stabilization is good on this phone when it comes to shooting 1080p 60 fps footage, but I think it will be good on 1080p 30 fps. I'm just saying anything right now. I'm just saying anything random so that just to give you an idea about the audio quality. So guys, we are shooting at 1080p 60 fps on the Galaxy S21 Ultra. Let me know in the comments what do you think about the footage quality, the stabilization, the audio quality. Yeah, let me know in the comments. And I'll just do a quick pan so that you get an idea about the dynamic range. Okay, now let's run. Now guys, this is 4K 30 fps from the Mi10i 5G. You cannot shoot at 4K 60 from this phone, but you can shoot at 4K 30 1080p 60 on this phone. Yeah, the stabilization is not good. But yeah, let me know about the video quality and the audio quality. Guys, now we are shooting at 4K 60 fps on the Galaxy S21 Ultra, and yeah, let me know in the comments what are your thoughts about the audio quality, the video quality, stabilization. Yeah, let me know if you find any difference between 1080p 60 fps and the 4K 60 fps footage in terms of stabilization. I'll just So guys, now we are shooting 1080p 30 fps from the front camera of the Mi10i 5G. Let me know in the comments what do you think about stabilization, video quality, audio quality. Yeah, seems quite stable right now. Just do a quick pan. And now let's do a quick run. So guys, now this is the front camera video, 1080p 30 fps on the Galaxy S21 Ultra. Let me know in the comments what are your thoughts about stabilization, video quality, and of course audio quality. So yeah, also if you're liking this comparison, do smash the like button and let us know in the comments how can we improve, because I think there is always room for improvement. We would love to hear your comments, so yeah, let us know. And now let's do a quick run. Guys, this is a quick test of the autofocus from the rear camera of the Mi10i. It's quite fast, like considering the price. And now this is a test of the autofocus from the Galaxy S21 Ultra. This phone comes with a laser autofocus. So yeah. So that's it guys, this was our comparison between a flagship 108 megapixel quad camera setup and a mid-range 108 megapixel quad camera setup. I know this sounds absolutely crazy, but trust me, we were very curious to do this, which is why we asked you the same on our community, and most of you voted for this comparison. Most of you said that yes, you want to watch this video. So thank you so much for being on board with this. And here's our verdict for the same. You must have noticed that there are some situations where the Mi 10i gives you better results, especially when it comes to shooting 108 MP samples. But we cannot deny the amazing results that we got from the S21 Ultra, especially in the low lighting conditions. Plus, the tertiary cameras are way better and have the ability to shoot 4K videos at 60 FPS. In terms of selfies, we are genuinely surprised with the S21 Ultra, both in terms of daylight and low light. You know what I mean. But we hope that this video gives you a clear idea about how much of a difference does it make when you pay for a phone that costs more than 1 lakh rupees and compared to a phone which costs just 21,000 rupees. Now, if you have liked this comparison, let us know in the comments what are your thoughts. And if you have liked our efforts, do give us a thumbs up, share this video, stay subscribed, stay safe. We'll be back soon with another one. Till then, take care of yourself. Goodbye.